Our next story we'll go into is about the coronavirus. The There's a new mask mandate in LA, in Los Angeles County. Officials said Sunday she's not pleased that the county had to once again require masks, but deemed it necessary. I would say it's not punishment, it's prevention. We still have 4 million people out of 10 million that haven't been vaccinated. She was spoken to Martha Raddatz on ABC's This Week. She said, "We, as responsible adults, should be taking a proactive approach and making sure that we mask up." LA County, like many parts of the nation, has seen a steep rise in COVID cases in recent weeks, mostly attributed to the highly contagious Delta variant. The vast majority of the cases have been reported among people who have not been vaccinated, particularly the ones that have led to hospitalizations and death. Under the order in LA County, masks are required in all indoor settings except when eating or drinking. Approximately 52% of the county's population is fully vaccinated, but the order doesn't distinguish between those that have been and have not. Solis said the county's goal is to get as many people as possible vaccinated. "I'm not pleased that we have to go back to using the masks in this matter, but nonetheless, it's going to save lives. And right now, that to me is what's most important, and really getting more people to understand that they have to get vaccinated." She also said Los Angeles is trying everything it can to increase the percentage of people who get jabbed. "We're lessening the hardships to get vaccinated. We are going with boots on the ground to parks, swimming pools, swap meets, anywhere you can think of that we encourage people to get vaccinated." Now, this this is really a major problem, and the reason for it is because of herd immunity. Now, herd immunity is basically where a certain population cannot contract the virus, and therefore the virus can no longer spread from person to person and basically dies. Depending on what virus it is, the threshold for the herd immunity changes. Measles, uh, for instance, was a super highly contagious disease, and therefore, for the herd immunity to work, 90% of the population um, has to have the vaccine, which is why, recently, as we've seen certain communities not have the measles vaccine, we see measles pop up again because the herd immunity only works if the number is reached. Now, the question is, what is the magic number for COVID-19? The magic number, at least that has been floated out there, is 70%. Um, and 52%. The LA County is a huge county. 52% is fully vaccinated, but that is nowhere near 70. We're talking about millions of people, and they said, they had about 4 million out of 10 that have not been vaccinated. So they still need about a million people. That's quite a lot. That's to say, in between 50 and 60%. Now, if it doesn't happen, then what happens? Then the virus continues. More people die. More people get hurt. Um, Hopefully, people wake up. Now, why? Why is why are people not getting vaccinated? From personal experience, it is because of misinformation, and that is just from working with a lot of different individuals. I have a lot of interactions with people throughout my day, and I see that people don't always have all the facts, and they when they do, sometimes they have the facts, but it's very out of context. And why is that? It's because it seems to be because a lot of people get their information from. And we're going to go into a study right now from the Surgeon General that uh, where they see might be as the issue, um, and that is social media. Uh, the Surgeon General, social media must do more to support vaccination. The reality is that misinformation is still spreading like wildfire in our country, Vivek Murthy said. So on Sunday, he dismissed the idea that the Biden administration is looking for a scapegoat. and using Facebook misinformation as an excuse. But what he actually said is, this is about the health of Americans, and the reality is that misinformation is still spreading like wildfire in our country, aided and abetted by technology platforms, Murthy said on Fox News Sunday. I've been in dialogue with a number of technology companies in good faith efforts to express my concerns to them and where they have taken positive steps, and some of them have. I've acknowledged that, as we should do, but what I've also said very clearly to them privately and also publicly is that it's not enough. Funny, somebody from the Biden administration saying not enough. But in an advisory released Thursday, Murthy declared falsehoods and conspiracy theories spreading online as an urgent threat to public health that have had an impact on the number of Americans willing to get vaccinated against COVID. Murthy said addressing the spread of information was a major priority for him as Surgeon General. I work with somebody that is QAnon. So my boss actually, and when I got my jab, I am vaccinated because I would never tell someone to go out and do something that I would not do myself. And when I got my jab, he was like trying to hold a magnet up to my arm and do all kinds of crazy stuff. He's a weird dude when it comes to certain beliefs, for sure. And that's part of the issue. People just having completely false information in their head. But that's not the whole problem either. And we'll continue. Top Republican lawmakers blasted the Surgeon General's work on misinformation and accused the administration of coordinating with social media companies to censor speech. President, so when I think it's funny that they want to talk about censoring speech when Trump was the same exact way, talking about certain media outlets and social media as well, being very harsh on freedom of speech. It has, and the thing about Facebook is, and it says right here, the Surgeon General intention is good, but at the end of the day, it doesn't save the life of somebody who is misled by misinformation on these sites, who didn't get vaccinated, who got sick and lost their life as a result. I'm asking these companies to step up and take responsibility for what's happening on their side. I'm asking them to look out for the people across the country whose lives depend on having access to accurate information. Now, the problem is with these social media platforms as well, they can only do so much because it's so much based in freedom of speech. What can you do, honestly, except for limit what people can say? And I would never, ever, doesn't matter what someone has to say, I would never tell them they cannot say it. It doesn't matter if it's false. It doesn't matter if I don't agree with it. I am there to argue. I am there to debate, and I am there to correct, and I am there to educate. But I will never tell someone they can't say something that they want to say. I don't believe that's the correct way to go about this. The issue with social media is that there's two major issues that I see. Is that the biggest one is that you go onto social media and a lot of these people maybe you trust, maybe you admire, maybe you have personal relationships with, and when they post something, you're going to see it as more credible as than if a media organization posts it. And because we have been so most people don't trust the media. It's just the way it is. So we're going you see someone personal post something, I believe that people are more likely to buy into it and to read it and to read into it, that what their family would say than what the media would say. And on top of that, how we digest information in the social media age is so quick, it's so punchy. We read headlines. We don't read stories. We read headlines. And that is an issue, because when you're getting a blurb, when you're getting a quote, and when you're getting a headline, it can be very out of context. And so when you don't have the full context of something, it's very much lost in translation. And I hope that everybody can go and get vaccinated. I hope we can get these numbers up, and people can just stop getting sick and hurt over something that is preventable.